You're listening to The Front Porch Show. Some shows are niche shows, talking about specific topics. Others, shows about nothing. This show is the show about everything. On The Front Porch Show, we'll talk about current events, some news, a little bit of politics, along with a whole lot of life. Welcome to Our Front Porch. 1-402-799-1811 is the message line number. www.thefrontporchshow.com.
Welcome to the Front Porch Show. We are huddled around a small campfire in the vast ruins of the Republic, but we have warmth and joy. I am your host, Tombstone, co-hosted with Ozman and, of course, our founder and president, Mathis. It's good to be here, guys.
I like the campfire idea.
Can I get a blanket?
That's what it is. Like, it's kind of bad out there, but we have hope and joy.
Can we cuddle?
We cannot cuddle. No.
No.
Charge extra for that.
I need to be held, Tombstone.
Well, Alyssa is at home today.
Oh, guys, it is good to be back. Lots and lots to get to today, but I want to update you real quick on the head saga of 2019.
Oh boy, here we go.
Ooh.
How's it going?
This week, the truck got put together completely.
Oh man,
100% back together.
What did you forget?
I then pull the truck out of the shed pull the truck out of the garage with a tractor, and commence to starting. After about 3 different sessions of 2 or 3 minutes of cranking,
Ben's on pins and needles here.
I'm like,
the truck roared to life in a glorious thunder of applause by me clapping.
okay.
It was just me clapping. I may have been standing up on top of the truck, screaming, going, "Yeah!"
Like a Tusken Raider.
Yes. Oh yes. Oh yes. Yeah, pretty much. And that was it was absolutely fantastic until about 2 minutes, and then the engine shut down.
Did you find the missing parts?
Well, no, I heard gallons of oil pouring out the underside of the engine.
That's a bad sound.
Did you forget to put in the plug?
No.
You forgot to put in the plug.
No.
Bottom of the oil pan.
Do you remember? Did I tell you guys last weekend that I spent 3 hours over the turbo trying to get it in because it connects at like 5 different points?
I remember hearing about that. Yes.
Yeah. So it turns out that the drain pipe on the underside is not actually held on by anything. It's just kind of it's just there. Like everything held into place, bolted down, it holds into place.
Right.
It's just a tube that shoves up into the bottom of the turbo and into the engine. And it turns out that when you remove the turbo and put it back on that like 4 times, you bust O-rings.
Oh.
And when there's high pressure coming in through the turbo,
yeah.
And there's an O-ring busted, it will literally pour gallons of liquid out. Down.
Those O-rings aren't a replace every time you take it apart item, I take it.
More than likely they are, but I mean this was a brand new O-ring, so the problem is that I slipped the turbo.
That's the problem we ran into with my
too many times.
That's the problem I ran into with my injectors in 2010.
Yeah, that's right.
The O-rings on the fuel rail were replaced every time you take it apart, and we did not.
Yep, that's right. So yeah, I'm super psyched. The engine ran super strong. All the cylinders were firing.
Nice.
Which is what we were, obviously trying to make happen. Because we had cylinder 5 not firing, and we had the blown head gaskets. But everything seems to be running right now, except for the terrible lack of oil.
Sure, Jono would be proud.
Which is now all over my driveway. And so,
oh man,
what's that?
You have a paved driveway?
No, I just have gravel. It's just it's like 4 inches of fresh gravel.
It'll go back to nature.
It'll disappear. We'll find it in several years.
No, poison the bunnies.
Several
in your yard.
Long years.
End up in your water table.
Polluting the ocean.
Speaking of bunnies, we had like 6 bunnies. We have these massive.
We love.
I guess you guys haven't seen these.
Where are we going with this?
Just let him go, Ben. Let him go. He's on a roll.
We have these. That's right. That's right. Thank you. That was a great reference, by the way, Tombstone. Animal House reference. Anyways,
don't explain the jokes.
Don't explain the jokes. It's not funny anymore. We have these massive burn piles from where the cedar trees got. So we had a tornado pass right through the farm.
Ooh.
And so we have shelter belts out here on the farm that got pulled out. Like all the cedars were laying sideways.
Yeah.
And so they got piled up into two piles. And we have literally these burn piles that are the size of a house. Two of them that need to be burned. Well, one of them is about 100 yards away from my house.
Yeah.
And it's massive.
Maybe don't start that one off.
Yeah, that one's not going to get started without the assistance of the fire department.
Oh, I was going to say gasoline.
Because it's extremely dry. It's cedar. It's going to go up like kindling. And it's about 60 yards from my fuel tank, maybe? I don't know. It's not even 100. It's only 100 feet. It's not even 100 yards. So
I'd be worried about 50 yards.
Yeah, it's really close. And so fire department will get a call when that decides to go. But no, bunnies love living in it. And so we're looking up the hill the other day, and there's like half a dozen bunnies just big bunnies.
Aww.
Bouncing around up on the hill.
Big, delicious bunnies.
And Myron's leaning out the window and he's like, "Daddy, can we hunt them?" And I'm like, "In time, my boy, in time."
Little boy,
you gotta fatten them up first, buddy.
So the worst, we have instilled in our children from a very, very young age that God has given us animals for food.
Truth.
And that's okay. You know, we can rejoice in the gift that God has given us in those animals, and we can also be mournful that, you know, they gave their life for us so that we could eat. And I think that's really a proper balance that you have to find there, is that, you know, whenever I kill an animal, I can't say remorse, but there is a bit of sadness knowing that I did take a life.
Right.
And it's not like this indwelling thing, but it's a thankfulness. It's like it's you know, I take that life, and then I am very, very thankful that God has been, you know, gracious to me, allowing me to get that. Anyways,
don't worry, Simba. Someday we will get buried in the ground, and the plants will eat us. Anyway,
so Myron's looking out the window the other day at breakfast time, and he just goes,
"Wait, he's looking out the window at breakfast." So are we about to shoot a rabbit?
It's breakfast time. He's eating breakfast. He looks out the window and he sees the cows in the pasture, and he goes, "Oh, those are happy cows." And then he turns to me and smiles, and he goes, "Happy cows are tasty cows." 4 years old, and I'm
That's awesome.
I'm like, And Alyssa's just standing at the stove, shaking her head slowly.
Alyssa knows what's up. Alyssa knows better than anybody.
She's just like, "Oh man." Well, no, it's true. It's absolutely true. Animals that are better treated and you know and they taste better. I speak from experience on this.
You know who we should get on the show?
Who's that?
Temple Grandin.
Okay. I have no idea who this is.
Oh, you need to look her up. She's a very cool lady.
Okay. What is her name?
Temple Grandin.
Temple.
Okay,
Grandin.
Now I've got to look her up, because this is totally on the fly here. The professor of animal science at Colorado State University.
Ooh, this sounds dangerous.
Interesting.
I'm honestly blown away that I know who she is and you don't.
Fascinating.
That means that I've accumulated a critical mass of cow knowledge.
Huh. No, this is fascinating.
I've never worked with cows, dear audience. I just know people that do work with cows.
Huh. Very cool.
You need to look up her TED Talk. She has a very good TED Talk out there.
I'm gonna check that out, and then I'm gonna reach out to her because you requested it.
Awesome.
And there's nothing wrong with asking. I mean, you know, I've reached out to Marianne Williamson, and her people never responded to me. At least, look, guys.
Super sad.
Guys, At least
That's-
Yang's
it is.
people shut me off, okay?
So Yang is not on our poopy list right now.
Yang actually responded to me, and I had words with his campaign manager, and he was
What do
like,
you mean had words?
no, as in exchanged like pleasantries with him.
Had that's not what words means.
No, and so we were
There
actually
could be a
talking.
reason why they stopped.
I mean, I just wanted to make sure we're on the same page here. I'm with you now.
We were talking and trying to arrange an interview, and they decided that the Front Porch Show at this time was not big enough for Yang to come on board, and I understand that. That's fine. But yet again, there's no problem in asking. Marianne Williamson's people never even got back to me.
That's because you don't have the right aura.
Your energy.
I have a beautiful aura. I have been told by many, many hippies that I have a beautiful aura.
Oh my!
I don't know what that means.
Maybe that's how you should have written the email.
All right. We want to align, synchronize our energies.
Everyone under the sound of my voice, synchronize your energy.
Please draft
another email for you to send.
Please
do it.
So
give me a couple of days. I'm gonna make it good.
So
she's
guys,
still running, by the way.
I know
her polling is terrible. She's a rich white lady from Orange County. She doesn't have anything better.
I
to do
want
than
her on the show so bad
and align her chakras.
I'm telling you, America's grandma, she's a marvelous lady. And
Marianne
I think
Fox wine and tabby cats for everybody.
Pretty much.
Better than ponies, I guess.
Oh man.
Listen, no, although Vermin Supreme had some awesome pictures come out this week.
Oh, did he?
I haven't looked him up in a while. Is he running again for the Libertarian Party? Because they've embraced him like he's one of their own.
He took a picture in a gun shop, and he did something else. I can't remember what it was. He said, "We're going to take all your guns and give you better ones."
So he's he is
I love it.
as satirical as he is one of the most progressive people I have ever exchanged pleasantries with.
Progressive.
Oh yes.
Libertarian.
No. He's not libertarian at all. I mean, he declares himself as totalitarianism. As a totalitarian. Yes.
I still want to know where he got a boot to fit his head.
I actually figured this out. It's over a helmet.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
There's a helmet underneath.
It keeps it on. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And now how he got it stretched out over the helmet, I couldn't tell you. But
I know, right? I mean, I'm assuming it's.
But it's glorious.
No, so he
it's rubber.
Every once in a while on Twitter, his true progressive feelings come out, and he just gets real nasty and bitter. And I think it may be perhaps alcohol fueled tweeting. And he
maybe it's because he loses his alcohol
with a stage name like Vermin Supreme,
right? And so, anyways, look, Vermin was one of the reasons why I left the Libertarian Party. One of many reasons. Mm-hmm. Was because they embraced him and took him in, and they were like, anybody can be a libertarian, even you, who's like this uber progressive, and and I'm like, no, that's not libertarian. That has nothing to do with anything remotely freedom oriented. And so that's when I was like, skip it. I'm not. I can't do this. Among many other things. Yeah. Well, thank you for sending that.
You're welcome.
Thank you for sending that. That is.
I love it.
Yes.
I love it.
It's true. I mean, look, I ultimately came down to the decision in the 2016 election that it was either Vermin Supreme or SMOD, the sweet meteor of death.
That shirt is cash money.
I ended up voting for SMOD. It's just my choice. The number of ties.
Are we ready to do the show?
Eventually, when we come back.
when we come back, guys,
this is the show, but there are other parts of the show.
When we come back, much to talk about. Your stories, our stories, everyone's stories.
I demand the free pony intro on return.
Ooh,
you got it.
Do it.
free ponies for all Americans, one of the overlooked issues in America today. My free pony platform is, of course, a jobs creation program. It will create lots and lots of jobs once we switch over to a pony-based economy. We'll also lower our dependence on foreign oil. We'll also be able to turn all that pony poop into methane gas and wonderful compost, so we'll be able to up our soil that is being depleted by agrochemicals, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And of course, the important thing to realize is that it is a federal pony identification program where you will need your pony with you at all times.
What cracks me up about that is he had to have thought it through. It's like the fertile political mind of Vermin Supreme there.
The vast amounts of satire that are produced aren't thought through as well as that.
I personally think that I'm going to start voting for anyone who uses et cetera, et cetera, et cetera to explain everything, because it's just, he takes into account that you're smart enough to know.
Does that,
and to anticipate
would it make a difference
what
really,
he's
though,
trying
if we
to
did?
say? No, not really.
I mean, whole separate question.
So this week, guys, we have seen an absolute cluster of insanity coming from both sides of the political spectrum in our country. You have we're impeaching Trump again.
Oh boy.
We have Trump hasn't done anything wrong ever. And then, hashtag winning. And I don't even know what to think on this whole Ukraine thing.
Can I make a bold prediction here?
Of course.
Trump
we always do that.
Trump is about to get Nixoned.
You think so?
Let me explain what I mean by that. Nixon was hated by the civil service, the State Department, the CIA, exactly the same way that Trump is. And at the end of the day, in my opinion, even though Nixon made mistakes, he was I want to say forced. He was blustered, scared into covering up a crime he didn't have anything to do with, because he was trying to protect himself from political operatives on the other side. Does that make sense? So at this time, I do not think Trump has done anything illegal or even impeachable. However, because of his massive unrestrained ego, he is in danger of making a mistake that will end up with him getting impeached and possibly removed from office. It's possible. I don't think it's likely. I definitely think it's possible. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so.
Because, Nixon never ordered the Watergate break-in. He was just complicit in the cover-up. Because he didn't want it to be used as ammunition against him.
Interesting thought.
That worked well.
Right. Yeah. Well, it didn't work well. But Nixon, do not, a lot of people don't know this anymore. Nixon had an enmity with the Washington press and the State Department and the bureaucracy exactly like Trump does. It's very, very similar. And for the same reason, which is that Nixon was a product of middle America. He was not a Washington natural. Which is not to imply that Nixon was pure as the wind-driven snow before he came into the White House. Just like Trump wasn't, but it had more to do with his attitudes. Even though Nixon was not especially reactionary, because Nixon, remember, founded the EPA. He was not like some kind of diehard Pinochet, Calvin Coolidge person. He's quite the opposite. He was fairly modern in his politics, but he was a product of so-called reactionaries in middle America. So on that note, so Trump is under attack.
Yeah, walk us through this, because I'm completely lost on this right now.
My sense of this is Trump is under attack, and it's pretty unfair.
So here's
fairness doesn't really matter in politics.
Here's what I understand about Ukraine.
True.
So basically, he's been absolved of Russia. He's been absolved of Russia.
No, absolved is not a word that anybody on the other team would use. I don't disagree necessarily.
Okay, so he's been found that, how can I say this in a diplomatic fashion? They have charges have not been filed because of Russia, and it has been proven that Russia, while they may have tried to influence the election, Trump was not directly involved.
Right.
Yes, there's no evidence that Trump has actually been compromised by Russia.
Okay.
Right.
So therefore, in order to potentially win the 2020 election, the Democrats have decided there must be someone who has compromised the election, and that now is Ukraine.
Man.
Okay,
man.
So bring us up to speed, Tombstone.
Let me walk you through. I'll go through the blow by blow as even-handedly as I can. So in 2015, Biden put pressure on the Ukrainians to fire a prosecutor in their government. Now,
2015.
It's 2015.
Yikes.
Now, I need to say this beforehand.
So this was when he was vice president.
Yes.
Hmm.
Ukraine was and still is one of the most corrupt countries on the face of the earth. Okay, they are incredibly corrupt.
But in our estimation, they're not Russia. So that makes them good.
They're not Russia. And in fact, the whole reason that Biden and Obama and Hillary spent so much time in Ukraine is because Ukraine has been fighting a low-grade, dirty war with the Russians since 2012, 2011, something like that.
Right over Crimea.
Yeah, over Crimea. And that's still ongoing, by the way.
We just don't talk about it.
This hasn't stopped.
Right.
So now there are more and less friendly factions to Russia in Ukraine. So, but it was a blatant power grab by Russia, and that part of the reason that we were at such high tension with Russia in 2016 when Trump was elected over the Syria thing was also because of Ukraine. But we were not and are not in a position to help the Ukrainians deal with the Russians because we are not willing to go to war with Russia over a piece of Crimea. Okay.
Proxy wars are much easier anyways.
Truth.
For everybody except on the ground, yes. Okay, so Joe Biden, for reasons that are still not 100% clear, notwithstanding the cache of documents that was posted this week. I'll come back to that in a second. Supposedly the reason Biden put pressure on the Ukrainians to fire this prosecutor is because he was investigating his son.
Which that was
However,
interesting because the prosecutor testified under oath that this happened.
So
wait, he's investigating Biden's son?
Hold on.
Hunter.
Joe Biden's son was, maybe still is, getting paid $50,000 a month by a Ukrainian energy company. Okay.
Yeah.
Whoa, how can I get that deal?
Seriously.
Oh, you need to be related to Joe Biden.
I just want to work 2 months.
I don't know if that's worth it or not.
Hunter Biden, I think it's Hunter.
It's Hunter.
Hunter Biden was the beneficiary of this deal, which seems to be connected to his dad's vice presidency. Now, I don't know, I haven't been able to figure this out, if there was actually any laws broken. Because I was reading another article this morning before I came on, and apparently federal law on our side is quite lenient on these things.
Yes, it is.
Makes you wonder why that is. For instance, Hunter Biden was also the beneficiary of a huge deal in China after he flew on Air Force One with his father to China on a vice presidential trip. Everybody knows it. Nobody seems to care because, as far as I can tell, based on a fair modicum of research, no laws are actually broken.
Basically, you can't personally benefit, but your family can. It's the same. Same way with it's Hat Lady. I forget her name. Hat Lady, the senator who wears the big hats. She talks
Maxine
crazy.
Waters.
Yes, her husband owns companies that have very big deals with the government.
Right.
That's not illegal. Ethically, it may be questionable, but it's not illegal.
Okay. So this week, a whistleblower complaint surfaced. And it was championed by none other than Adam Schiff. Who is Adam Schiff? He is on the House Intelligence Committee.
So he's a congressman.
He's in the House, yes.
Okay.
The reason this is interesting is because we now know that this complaint originated from a CIA officer who was based in the White House, who was in charge of transcripting. He was in charge of transcripting. He became aware of a transcript of a call between Trump and the Ukrainian president, whose name is Ukrainian. I don't have it in front of me right now. About investigating, or about Giuliani investigating Joe Biden, or Joe Biden's son. It was not about investigating Joe Biden. It's about investigating Joe Biden's son.
Okay.
This was spun into a tale where Trump had offered what they call a quid quo pro, which is a fancy Latin for I give you something, you give me something. Where we would continue to give them aid if they saw to it this was investigated. The problem is, first of all, I'm not sure that's actually illegal if laws were actually broken, right? If Hunter Biden did actually break laws, then Trump insisting that he be investigated and or investigated would not really be.
But see, so hold on.
Yes.
Let me just stop you on that. An investigation doesn't mean that you're guilty.
Correct.
Unless you're Trump.
Unless you're Trump. Right. Well, that's where I was going with this. An investigation does not mean you're guilty.
That's the case, though, right? Because we're into the smoke is fire phase of the Republic.
Right. That's where we're at now.
Where we're at.
This is really killing me.
This sounds a lot like what happened with what they're trying to nail Trump for.
Yeah.
Oh, it's interesting you say that, Ben.
Ironic, right?
In just a minute.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
He's on a roll. Let him go.
Adam Schiff starts talking this week about he knows that a whistleblower complaint exists, but he hasn't seen it. He says, I know it's out there. I haven't seen it. And he says there was a flagrant quid quo pro. The president offered this for that. Okay. After a couple days, the White House releases a summary, not a transcript because it appears to have been lightly edited, but it's a transcript that contains this conversation. And there's nothing apparently criminal in it.
Okay.
However, people keep saying there is, but I don't think there is because it's covered under normal presidential operations. Just like Flynn talking to the Russians was not violating the Logan Act because Flynn was part of the presidential transfer team.
But don't let a slight inconvenience like that bother you.
Yeah. So the interesting part of this is that when the actual memo was released and it came out, the Schiff had a copy of the memo all along and lied about it. In fact, he's had a copy of it since August.
So he's been holding on to it for 2 months?
Yes.
Or for a month and a half?
Yes. Hold on. There's more. Not only that, but when this memo was written, the rules had just been the rules for I think it was a whistleblower complaint had just been changed. So this was allowed to be categorized as a whistleblower complaint.
And see, that's the weird thing with this whole thing. It's like this is not firsthand information. This is secondhand information.
And it also appears to have been basically professionally, like it was probably written by a staffer in the House Intelligence Committee.
It was polished.
The guy did not write it himself.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, the most damning thing about this to me is that it was bubbled up by a CIA agent and it was handed off nice and tidy to a congressional staffer or a congressman specifically for the purpose of attacking Trump. That should scare the pee out of all y'all.
Right. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Okay.
Truth.
Especially seeing as how Crossfire Hurricane, which we believe was the operation to write up and disseminate the dossier that Trump colluded with Russia, was also apparently originated with the CIA. So there are some deep, dark, dirty things going on here.
So okay, hold on.
So here's one more interesting piece of information. Nancy Pelosi has rewrote the rules when the Democrats got a House majority. Actually, let me write this up. Let me read this for you. Hang on, just a second. Is it all becoming clear to me? Or becoming clear to me? It's clear to me. Is it becoming clear to you guys how much of an op this is?
It's getting weird.
Yes.
Okay.
Like it's almost like House of Cards is real.
Let me tell you something that I'm fragrantly stealing this from Ace of Spades, who's my favorite blogger. Everything is an op. Nothing happens by accident. Okay. So here are some rules that Pelosi changed when they got a Democratic majority in the House. The minority does not need to be notified of investigations. The minority does not need to be present for interviews and testimony. Committee staff and hired contractors can do all depositions, and the outcomes of those depositions and investigations don't have to be shared with the minority. Okay. While I'm borrowing this from The Last Refuge, which is Conservative Treehouse, which is a pretty far right blogger, very, 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 very pro-Trump, like since the early days, but they often do amazing research, which is why I'm quoting them. So while the House impeachment investigation is ongoing, the minority Republicans will have no idea what the committee lawyers are assembling. The Pelosi House rules clearly present the outline for an impeachment process as directed by changes to the oversight committees. Additionally, there is a myriad of new processes which appear to have been developed through the Lawfare Alliance. you're not familiar with Lawfare, they're a far left outfit which basically does nothing but devise legal tactics to beat down Republicans. That's literally their job. Okay. In previous oversight hearings, depositions of witnesses could not be conducted by counsel unless minority members were also present. Pelosi removed that rule, allowing an expanded team of House lawyers to question anyone regardless of minority presence. Following with the investigative plans for impeachment, and in conjunction with all new powers granted to a massively expanded House of Representative lawyers, page 7, these referenced document has specific rules to benefit the HPSCI, which is the House Intelligence Committee, Chairman Adam Schiff. Schiff can now unilaterally demand and instruct depositions from anyone at any time for any reason, and the HPSCI does not need to consider any possible scheduling conflicts for any of the targets or have any Republican members present there. I hope you guys appreciate how powerful this makes.
When did that change?
Terrifying.
Do you have a date of when that changed? Because I guess
the date I have on the original document is January 2nd, 2019, which I believe is when the Congress was sat.
Okay. Because I was just curious to see if that changed in the last month, which means it was changed before then.
No.
Because I was
but it's definitely groundwork.
Because
there's no question that this is groundwork to empower the House.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
This is bad.
Getting everything set up.
Bad news.
So
Trump.
I did some research because that meme was going around that Democrats have tried to impeach every GOP president since Eisenhower.
Mm-hmm.
I did some research on that.
Yeah,
and articles of impeachment were introduced against
true.
5 of the 6 Republican presidents who served since Eisenhower.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all.
The articles of impeachment were not introduced against President Gerald Ford. Gerald Ford is pretty middle of the road guy, anyways.
Gerald, well, he was also so cowed because he replaced Nixon.
Right, exactly.
Ford was never elected.
Well, so the thing was that who wanted to get rid of Ford after they just got rid of Nixon?
Nobody. He was the patsy.
Right, exactly. So that makes a whole lot of sense. And they're claiming that only a handful of Democrats filed it against George Bush and Ronald Reagan, but they didn't receive the backing of the entire Democratic Party. So Snopes is calling this false. When it's actually pretty close to true, which is interesting, okay, because that it points to a wider political thing. Yeah, the wider
political thing is there are no legitimate Republican candidates.
According to progressives and Democrats, that they do not believe there's any legitimate candidates for president from the Republican side.
Yeah,
and so that should make everyone pause just a little bit.
But by the way, I read a lot of Democratic commentary, both on Twitter, Daily Kos, things like that. I cannot tell you I don't know what the actual proportion of Democrats who believe Trump is a completely illegitimate president. There are a lot of that. Not a small number.
Yeah, no, yeah. It seems more than back when Bush was president. There was a lot of people screaming it when Bush was president.
Yeah. So do you guys have any questions? Did I leave anything out?
No, I think that explains a lot of it. So what they're going after Trump now for what?
So they're going after Trump for supposedly the quid pro quo thing with the Ukrainian president, because supposedly it would benefit him personally in his election. But nobody I've seen saying this is considering the fact that Hunter Biden might have actually broken the law in spectacular fashion.
Well, this goes back to the wide progressive view that we just let people go for crimes that they've committed.
Right. Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you've done. It matters how we feel.
Right.
And I realize that's going to tick some people off listening, but I don't care. It's true. We keep seeing this time and time again. I'm not a fan of Trump. I've said that before. I didn't vote for him. Look, guys, this has nothing to do with a political party here. This has everything to do with
literally trying to go after somebody you hate.
Right, exactly.
Just because you don't like them. That's literally what it is. And that's insane because it's just
so
get over yourselves.
The current
is
status,
not how real world works. Well, apparently
the current
it is.
status of my vote for Trump is it's radically changed from 2 weeks ago. At this point, I would crawl over a mile of broken glass to vote for Trump again.
In fact, Tombstone told me the other day He's going to vote twice for Trump.
Whoa.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
I'm a Democrat, and I love John McCain. And I also am told that Chuck Graham, state senator's here. Chuck, stand up. Chuck, good to see you. Oh, God love you. What am I talking about? I tell you what, if we do everything right, we do it with absolute certainty, we stand up there and we make really tough decisions, there's still a 30% chance we're going to get it wrong.
Thank you, Joe.
Are we not sure that Joe's just a character from the West Wing?
Dude.
Okay, can I tell you? Can I be honest with you? Okay, as many problems as I have with creepy old Joe, the thing with Chuck Graham, I thought was actually really funny. Like everybody pounced, like, you know, the classic Republicans pounced. Republicans pounced on that, and I was like,
You're still talking about Joe.
He handled it really well. Yeah, exactly.
Just saying. Creepy Joe.
Okay.
Creepy Joe.
We need to have that on a soundboard whenever he comes up. You can play it.
It's so awkward.
Yes. I'll do like 10 seconds
no
of that on the soundboard.
Listen, I'm not even being silly. I think the man is sick in the head. He has huge problems.
Oh, there's some.
I agree with you. I hope for his health's sake that he does not run for president. Because literally, we could end up, you know...
He is old as the hills, man.
We could end up down the road wondering what we've done if we elect him as
Rush
president.
Limbaugh has just started calling him plugs.
The man is 76 years old.
Yeah, but Donald Trump is 73, 74.
Everything else aside, it's the creeping on women and girls that the
hair smelling. Oh, that's
I don't care about his I don't care about his senility. I just care about his creeperness. Okay, it's not funny anymore.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
All right. Let's get serious now. All right, so we're going to be talking about one of the most serious websites.
Examine your audience. Please.
I apologize. Number one, I played the wrong intro. I was supposed to play the Trump intro, and I accidentally played the Biden intro. But I don't think that hurt us.
Creepier.
I don't think that hurt us at all. But so we have a Trump story. Go, Ben, take it.
All right.
Take it.
All right. So we have a very serious Trump story from the Babylon Bee, which is obviously not a satirical site at all.
It's a premier news outlet.
It is.
Some of the best work in the entire country.
Absolutely. So, and this is actually a question that I had on my mind is what, let me just read the title for you. Evangelical leaders ask Trump which one of them will betray him during the impeachment proceedings.
Ooh.
And
good.
So the photo that is portrayed here is the Da Vinci's Last Supper, with Trump in the middle and all these people around him.
Thank you, Babylon Bee.
Babylon Bee. It's great. Oh,
Babylon Bee picks no favorites.
No, they don't.
They do not.
That is why I love them so much.
Which is why Snopes hates their guts.
So funny. I love it when they drop the whole. I love it when they fact check Snopes or when they. Mm-hmm. It's so much gold, and they do it every couple weeks.
I think my favorite quote right here is they're talking about Trump, and you have Trump. It says, "I know most of you are loyal." Trump says to the guest as the guests recline after their meal, "Very loyal. You guys are the best. One of you is going to betray me. Believe me, not good."
Okay, so who's it going to be, guys?
I love it. It's not going to be Jerry Falwell.
Well, that right there you go. Okay,
Jerry Falwell's not Peter.
Who's that guy? Who's that guy from the 700 Club? Robertson.
Now, I'm not saying if you arrested Jerry Falwell and beat him and whipped him a few times, he might not betray Trump. He probably would.
From what I hear, he likes that though. So,
oh gosh,
did you read?
I'm muting Aaron.
All right. Anyway,
No comments. Wow, did I just go there? I'm so sorry, guys.
Oh, here we go.
You guys can search for that article on the Google later, but make sure it's not really probably safe for work.
Incognito.
Yeah. This somebody needs to read this article. I can't read it all the way through without a straight face, but it's brilliant. Especially the ending of it. It says, basically you have. Did you read it? Do it. Because I can't do it. I will not be able to get through it at all.
All right, I'll start at the top. Washington, D.C. At a Trump campaign fundraising supper Thursday night, the mood was somber. Trump had just informed everybody that he would soon be impeached but would be reinstated 3 days later. He also dropped a bombshell on the evangelical leaders gathered to raise money for his campaign, that one of them would soon betray him. I know most of you are loyal, Trump said as the guests reclined after their meal. Very loyal. You guys are the best. But one of you is going to betray me. Believe me, not good.
You got to get a better Trump voice there.
I'm doing the best I can. His disciples stared at each other, not sure what Trump meant and wondering if maybe he had one too many Diet Cokes with his ice cream. But Pat Robertson whispered to Jerry Falwell Jr., ask him who the snitch is. We can take care of snitches. So Jerry Falwell Jr. leaned against Trump's chest. There's an image I didn't need. Mr. President, who is it?
That's nasty.
Surely not I, Lord, said a sobbing Falwell Jr. The others all asked him one by one, surely not I. Tears forming in his eyes, Trump answered, it is the one to whom I give this cup of covfefe. He then passed a cup of coffee over to Robert Jeffress. I have no idea who that is.
Oh, man.
What you are going to do quickly, Trump said, clearly in anguish in his body and soul, though again, it might have just been the Diet Coke. Just remember what we used to do to spies and snitches.
Poor Jeffers, guys. Do you remember the pastor of the First Baptist Church of Dallas that did the ode to Trump?
No. There's one line in the article. Jeffress went out into the night to make a plea bargain with the FBI.
Yep.
I've never heard of him. So what do I need to know?
His church was the one that did the Make America Great Again song, didn't they?
Wait, what?
I don't know. I've never heard of this. Can you find it on YouTube?
Yeah. This is Washington Post. I'm not sure if I can find the actual video. I mean, it's got to be there somewhere. But here it is. It's on. This was July 4th, 2017. I can't play it due to copyright issues.
What?
But yeah, so they sung the song "Make America Great Again."
Oh no!
And this was sung during their 4th of July services at the First Baptist Church of Dallas.
Oh no!
And it was written by Jeffers and performed by the choir and orchestra there. So Trump commemorated Independence Day by posting a video of the group performing the song at the Kennedy Center during the concert honoring veterans. Yeah, there you go.
I have so many thoughts.
So there's Jeffers.
This is terrifying. This has got to be one of those terrible, terrible songs that like somebody just wrote and doesn't actually know anything about lyrics.
Can we play it?
We can't play it on the air.
Not even a little bit of it. For commentary purposes.
We might get pinched.
Just do like 20 seconds. We can edit it back out if we need to.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Here you have it.
You know, I think Donald Trump might have been the one that wrote the lyrics for this. They might have just taken it from one of his speeches.
Oh my gosh.
It's bad.
Turn it off. That's enough. Enough. That's all I needed.
Yep. There you have it.
Oh man.
That sounds like something from Red Square. Or from an FDR era public information work.
It is pure propaganda.
All you need is somebody with the 1940s announcer voice talking about how we're gonna crush the communists and make America great again.
We're going to crush the communists.
Y'all know my politics are extremely right wing, and but all that being true, I cannot convey to you how completely uncomfortable I am with the church taking sides. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether it's in secret or in public. With the church taking sides
I am terribly uncomfortable with this.
I mean, I think to a certain extent, the church is going to lead you to live out a certain ideology in the wild. But openly identifying with a party and a president, I cannot tell you how dangerous that is for the church. It's not a danger to anybody else except the church. You're putting yourself in spiritual and organizational danger. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. We've had this discussion before on the air. I made the comment before that I want my church to be countryless.
And as a result, all we've done is turn the church into a political football. Anyways.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. It's part of my issues with the Southern Baptists as a whole right now.
Now.
Here we go.
I know. Look, I've got a lot of friends.
Southern Baptists are going to get you coming and going because they have far right wingers and they also have social justice warriors that are trying to take over the organization of the church. I have a lot of friends within the Southern Baptist movement. Guys, you got to fix what's going on. You got to stay away from the politics. It's not worth it. Focus on the gospel. The gospel transcends everything. Well, what's actually happening is, and honestly, it's the flip side of what was happening in the 80s with the moral majority, is you're now entering a different generation, which says that the living out of the gospel is going to fall almost in lockstep with one group's political aims, which is basically social justice. And that's also extremely dangerous. That's just as dangerous as saying that the Bible wants you to start burning rock and roll records and
right. Yeah. No, absolutely.
Stuff like that.
No, you're absolutely right. It comes back down to extremes. Extremes don't benefit anyone. Extremes certainly don't bring honor and glory to God. That's for sure. Well, that sounded wrong.
Yeah.
Extremes when it comes to politics.
Giving Aaron the stink eye right now.
No. It was a good stink eye. Let me rephrase that. Extremes when it comes to this do not help.
I think what you're trying to say is that you have the gospel, and if your politics get in way of the gospel,
yes,
then you have it backwards.
Yes,
because
absolutely.
The gospel and the Bible should be leading you in making good decisions.
Yes.
Whether they line up with one or the other.
And the gospel,
you're bound as a Christian to follow the Bible as opposed to following a group. Sometimes it will align, sometimes it will not.
Exactly. You may be convinced that through your reading and study of the scriptures that you lean more towards the social justice side of things.
And you may be wrong. No, I'm just kidding.
You may be wrong, or you may be right. I don't know. I think that's up to the conscience of the person to decide. But at the same time, we can't take our politics and expect the gospel to shape itself to our politics. It doesn't work. It doesn't happen.
And I think so often, a lot from like the older people that I talk to that are very, very pro-Trump, and very pro Republican Party and everything else, it almost seems like they're completely ignoring the fact, and they're even almost insulted by the fact that you're not going this way of being conservative, that you don't like Trump, that you don't like this or that.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily that it means that we're siding with liberals or siding with people that we disagree with, because I didn't vote for Trump does not mean that it was a vote for Hillary.
Right, exactly.
That's the type of politics where it's literally black and white. It's one side or the other. And here's what I would say has taken and grasped and ruined politics, and why we have a two-party
all recognize
system.
Anyone who wants to be a follower of Christ, and it's also going to have to live in this completely screwed up country we call the United States of America. You need to live in the knowledge that applying your spiritual beliefs, your scriptural beliefs to politics is incredibly fraught, is incredibly difficult and complicated. I mean, even in our show, I mean, how many different places have we landed in how we want to vote and what we believe? Even though we're all we're all conservative except for Aaron.
I'm very conservative for the most part.
But you know what I'm saying. We fall in different areas, and we strongly disagree on our opinion of Trump in some ways. For me, it just varies week to week.
Especially crawling over glass to vote for him.
Yeah. And even more so among our friends, right? You need live in understanding, live in like there are no understand. Well, I mean, some people I would say they say it is easy choice, but depending on someone's conscience, it may not be an easy choice. So live with grace, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yes. No, you're right. You're absolutely right.
It will get, but I can tell you it will probably get worse before it gets better. Like, I think 2020 is going to make 2016 look like a garden party.
Why do you have to say that?
I'm just being realistic.
I don't like it when you bring us down, man.
Wow, way to down that.
Don't bring us down, man.
It is a cornhole tournament fundraiser. Cut the crap.
I love this so much.
I need to put that. I need to put the woo in that at the end too.
This is my favorite.
Guys, Louisiana is a different place. You ever been there, guys?
Just passing through. Yeah. I don't think we stopped.
I spent 3 days down there doing inspections. 2 separate times, actually. I went down there to hire a guy, and ended up not working out. Turns out the guy didn't have a license.
It could be a hindrance.
Yeah, it was a
Was he a
bad
traveler, though?
I read this week that 1 in every 7 people in New Orleans has a warrant for their arrest.
Yes, I read that too.
I'm not sure if that says something about New Orleans or if it says something about the police in New Orleans.
So
I bet Chicago could give them a run for their money, though.
I absolutely loved New Orleans. As I said, I worked down there for like 6 days a couple years ago.
I've never had the urge to go.
And
it scared me away from New Orleans, honestly.
Yeah, no, there's parts of it that were kind of scary. That you get out of the car and like there was this one area south of downtown, like southeast of downtown, because the way the river goes there, it's a little funky. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like southeast of downtown, and there was a house. I do housing inspections for my day job, and there was a house that I did not do because when I opened the car door, like there were needles on the ground.
Ugh.
And so, like, I took pictures from the road. I was like, I'm not doing this house. There's no way I'm walking around the yard.
How many crack houses do you think you've inspected over the years? Internal inspections.
Oh, inside?
Yeah.
None doing insurance inspections, but I would bet you I did four previous crack houses doing mortgage inspections where I had to do interior inspections.
I would do the same. I've done a handful.
Yeah, it was like, and one was particularly notorious because, so in New England you have these old houses with these, I forget what they call them, but there's the interior stairway. So you have you walk into the main front door, you have rooms off to the left, to the right. Mm-hmm. A lot of times you'll have a room off to the back, and then you'll have the stairway right there coming right in the middle, straight inside the door.
Right. Pretty standard northeastern.
Yeah, very standard for that, 1840s, 1850s style house. And so walk in the door, and that hallway is completely covered in foil.
What?
You remember that movie with Mel Gibson?
Because they were doing a grow in the basement.
They were no, not in the basement. They were doing a grow in the hallway.
Wait, well, was the floor covered in foil or the ceiling?
The ceiling and the walls were completely covered in foil.
I'm sorry. You said the hallway. I was thinking the floor.
Yeah, no. The ceilings and the walls were completely covered in foil, and there were like screw holes for lights hanging.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. They took all the grow gear with them.
They took the grow gear. Yeah, absolutely. So that was probably one of the weirder houses. Yeah. Then I had the one house. Alyssa walked in on a homeless person one time. That was nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like the whole thing about doing those, I absolutely hated doing them because you go to this abandoned house, it's obviously run down, it's obviously like when you walk in, you can smell the despair.
Yeah.
I don't know any other way to say it.
A house that's not lived in, you can smell it. It has a distinct smell. It has a distinct feel. It's disturbing.
It is to me. I don't know if I told you. I don't know if you've experienced this. To me, it was actually spiritually depressing on some level.
Yeah, and we're not that type of people who lean that way. But yeah, there's a weird, like, you get a sense
it's a weird
of
vibe.
Yeah, man, it's super weird.
And it's not. It's if the house is nice, you don't get it. But if the house is the house is dilapidated and has obviously been abused, then it's
yeah. Oh yeah, you get this feeling.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's just I don't know if it's your external telling your internal something's off or what's going on. But
I think it's
just
a combination.
Super
but
weird.
Going like the first walkthrough you do of an empty house that's been trashed is the least fun thing I've ever done for work.
Yeah, I had this.
Never know what you're gonna find.
I had this one house that was kind of like a maze, where like there was like 3 ways to get upstairs, and multiple exits from bedrooms and stuff, like through closets and stuff. It was really creepy. And once in a great while, well, it was every time I went there, like there was a mattress on a floor in one of the bedrooms, like that would always be kind of made up somewhat. Like there'd always be stuff moved around, and I'm like, guys, this is super creepy. And so, I mean, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this or not, and I guess there was no regulations about it from that company, but I always carried in that house. Like, I've got some companies that do not allow me to carry or have said you cannot carry while on the job. Certain clients, but that house, every time, because it was super scary.
It's like those houses where they find like a secret passage and like people have been living in the secret passage.
Maybe.
Whoa.
Oh, Ozzy may not have heard this story.
Oh no!
It was New Orleans house. Cameras all around the house. No trespassing signs. I'm watching the news a couple months later, national news. I'm watching the news a couple months later, and there is the house on national news.
Jeez.
Why? Why was the house on national news? Because it was the guy had prisoners.
Oh.
The guy had taken prisoners inside of his house.
That's eerie.
And was holding them hostage. So
yikes.
Yeah, it was quite disturbing knowing that I was at that house. So yeah. Anyway, New Orleans.
All right. New Orleans. Did you ever get some gas at the Tiger truck stop?
You know, it's funny because I did look that up. I did look to see if I'd been there, and no, I did not, because I went home up 55 up through Jackson, Mississippi, and so I did not actually go up Route 10 up through.
So luckily you saved yourself from being unscathed.
I did. I did not stop at the Tiger truck stop in Gros Tete, I believe they call it. They've got a whole bunch of weird names, guys. But that being said, they've got a llama there, which is incredible. They've got tigers there, or did have tigers there. They've got a camel there. It's just amazing.
Camel that is not able to reproduce anymore, apparently.
Apparently. So a Florida woman stopped by the.
This had to be a Florida woman. It couldn't have been somebody from Louisiana.
She and her husband stopped by at the Tiger truck stop in Gros Tete, Louisiana, on Thursday to let their pet dog outside. During the visit, the dog entered the camel's enclosure while chasing after pet treats that had been thrown in by the husband. Apparently, the husband was trying to feed the camel pet treats.
Oh, no.
Well, Casper, the male camel.
Poor Casper.
Chased after the woman when she crawled into its pen under the barbed wire fence. Pinned her against the wall and sat upon her. Her only option, guys. Her only option, or so she claimed, was to bite him in the man bits. Guys, when does
stop the world? I would like off, please.
You can't hit him with your arms.
Camels are really big and they're really mean.
But like, that's your only option is to bite him. There. It's your only option.
There's so much I can't say right now.
Oh
my gosh.
Guys.
I cannot see that be like that. Yeah, that to me would be like that. I'm not sure if I would just rather die. I'm not really sure.
The camel,
As a last resort, I'm not sure that would be something I would take.
Iberville Parish Deputy Louis Hamilton Jr.
Oh man,
said the camel did nothing
Poor
wrong.
Camel.
The couple were aggressive. They were aggressive. The camel was doing his normal routine.
The camel did nothing wrong.
So the camel just like naturally sits on people when they enter his pen. That's like his
I guess. Casper the camel weighs up to 1,600 pounds, so pretty big guy.
Right.
From what I understand, camels, when they feel threatened, they sit on things.
That is super random.
Yeah.
That is such a randomly horrible defense mechanism.
I know.
I mean, especially for this camel.
Especially for Casper. I mean, Casper didn't know it was coming. I mean, it just...
Oh, man.
It's all fun and games until something bites you in the man bits.
I wonder how fast he got up. Oh, man.
Unfortunately, we don't have any video. Hey, guys, I gotta ask you, if you're in this situation, which obviously you're not going to be because you're not going to throw treats, and your little yippy dog is not going to run in there for treats. But say it happens for some strange reason, you are stuck underneath a camel. Are you going to bite?
I'm curious as to how that was like the only thing available for her to bite.
Right. I mean,
it seems that there would be other things like a leg or
maybe that was just the most tender and most available spot.
I mean, it's not exactly an unknown factor that would probably hurt a lot, but I'm assuming that her arms and legs were trapped. I'm assuming.
And what was her husband doing during all this?
I don't know. Apparently regretting that he threw in dog treats.
He was running because he knew he was going to get bit next.
Maybe. Never mind.
Never mind.
Okay, what's next?
I can't go anywhere with this story.
No.
There's nothing I can say. There's
Jeff,
so many great things, but I can't say anything.
I just want you to know something. Man bits.
Guys,
the
Navy, the Russian Navy.
Oh no.
The Russian Navy was defeated by a walrus this week in the Antarctic.
Not a Babylon B
Arctic
article.
Ocean. No, this is not a Babylon B article.
But this is, I gotta see this.
This is another animal story here, folks.
Oh man, from CBS. Then you know it's real.
Yeah, that's right. Scientists were aboard a Navy tugboat known as the Altai something. I don't speak Russian. On an expedition to Franz Josef Land archipelago in the Arctic Sea. I don't even know where Franz Josef Land is.
Well, he's on an archipelago.
Well, right. I mean,
obviously.
It doesn't show up in the maps, to be honest with you. So I don't know where it is. Why doesn't it show up there?
It's probably somewhere like far northern Arctic coast.
In Google, it's probably like Frank Joseph or something. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
It must be named after Stalin.
Was that his name?
Franz Joseph Stalin.
No, I didn't know that.
No, actually, no. It was Joseph. I don't know if it was. I don't think he was a Franz.
Wait, you can't find this because
are you just making stuff up? Where is it?
Yeah, I completely found it.
If you punch in Franz Joseph Land,
yeah, you just got to Google it, man. Jeez.
Punch into Google Maps.
You don't know how to use the Google?
I found Franz Joseph in New Zealand.
It's way up there. It's
a Russian archipelago. Let's see.
Like I typed it into Google Maps and I can't get it.
Okay, hang on. I'm gonna save you from yourself.
Please do. This is getting painful.
Okay, that's where I thought it was. That is where I thought it was.
All right. So how did this thing sink this thing up there?
Okay. So
because walruses are big, but
now see
how big was this boat?
See, this is where the issues arise. This is where the issues arise. They had boarded a small rubber landing craft, and the female walrus attacked, sinking the vessel. Now, I don't call a little runabout a craft or a boat. It's just a dinghy.
So
let's just be honest.
What were
the
they
walrus
doing to provoke
sunk a
this
dinghy.
poor walrus?
They claim she was protecting her cubs.
So basically, it punched a hole in the inflatable landing craft.
Yes.
And then they went, zooming off like in the cartoons when you punch a hole in something. And
Yes. Yes. Walruses can weigh 1.5 tons, reaching 7.25 to 11 feet.
Oh yeah, they're not small.
Twice the size of a human.
They're huge.
1.5 tons is a little bit more than twice the size of a human.
Depends on the human.
That's a good point. Hashtag my 600-pound life. Not mine, but
Ew. Did not need that. Okay.
Anyways. So yeah,
the moral of this story is don't piss off a walrus.
No, don't do that. Do female walruses have tusks? I don't think they do.
Wow,
Sounds like it's worth the Google.
I don't think they do. Huh. Just a weird thought there.
Let's see. They are found both on males and females. So they're kind of like dwarves, where you can't tell the men from the women because of the beards.
Awesome.
Words of the Anchorman. It's science.
So yes, apparently they do. That is according to NationalGeographic.com.
Nice.
Boom shakalaka. We've been National Geographic.
Nice. We are educated, and we bring the smarts on the Front Porch Show. The smarts.
My favorite word is the word.
We got an issue in America. Too many good docs are getting out of business. Too many OBGYNs aren't able to practice their love with women all across this country.
Back up, you creep.
And Bernie Sanders might run. Apparently, some folks really want to see a pot-smoking socialist in the White House. We could get a third Obama term after all.
Well, that didn't happen.
I mean,
no third Obama term yet.
We might still get it.
Maybe.
If Joe wins or if Hillary wins.
I want to know
or if Elizabeth Warren.
I want to know when Michelle's
going
to say she's going to run.
Oh my gosh. No, please.
She would win, guys.
We'd have to
I know. That's the problem.
She would win. It'd be a landslide too.
Yep.
Let's not
Michelle
give any
will
ideas.
run. She will run in 2024.
2024, yeah. She will run in 2024 against Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley will run for president in 2024.
Who would I vote for?
Oh my!
I would vote for Trump again.
You know? Really? Okay. What is your? I mean, your former governor Mark Sanford is running for president now against Trump.
Oh, I forgot about that.
What is your issues with Haley?
I think she's just squishy.
Really?
I think swamp creature might be too. That's a terrible phrase.
Really?
It's been used by all the wrong people, but
really?
Yeah, there is that whole issue with the Confederate flag, and there are some other things.
Huh. Interesting.
I mean, what she has going for is I don't think she hates the base, so that's good. I mean, that might be enough. That might be enough to bring me over, depending on what she actually says.
Well, yeah.
So
understandable, I guess.
She has a very weird reputation because she beat her challengers very happily, but once she got into office, she didn't seem that popular. It was kind of strange, but I don't know exactly why. I should probably know that. But South Carolina politics is very strange, and the governor does not really have that much power. Most of the power is in the House, specifically with the House leader.
Huh. Interesting.
The Senate leader, pardon me.
And now we know the politics of South Carolina.
Yep, and South Carolina is incredibly corrupt.
So, well, on that note, let's go to another corrupt place.
Nobody seems to care.
Hong Kong.
Where are we going?
Hong Kong.
Hong Kong. We have a video about Hong Kong.
We do have a video about Hong Kong.
They're still in the middle of protests and things right now, aren't they?
Right. Mm-hmm. Have you so what ended up happening is the police have infiltrated the protesters.
That's what happens, yes.
And are now arresting people on the spot for protesting. The double agents, informants, telling where the protesters are, arresting them ahead of time.
This is really a David and Goliath thing, because Hong Kong is very wealthy, but there's not a lot of people there compared to China. Like,
right.
China can redirect huge numbers of security people and apparatus and their security apparatus to focus on Hong Kong like a laser. I just don't know if they're going to be able to withstand in the long term.
We've talked about this. We've talked about this in the past.
It would be like if Charleston decided to rebel against the United States. Like, there's just not enough room and there's not enough people to do anything really.
Right. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
No, it's certainly interesting. Let's roll this video from Hong Kong, where an American woman decides that it's her turn to lecture people. On the streets.
A public forum. This is not a public forum. Yes. Why? Because who's not participating? And why don't the universities get involved instead of protesting? What a waste of time for everybody. You guys should be enjoying your Sunday. This is not a waste of time.
No.
Look, is this okay? Is this respectful?
Why not?
Why not? If my mother saw me wrote this.
How did you do? What did you do?
I'm not saying what they did is
but
right.
They don't
respect us. They're wrong too.
Yeah, well, so
look, violence breeds violence. Do you agree? Do you agree? Violence. Find me one case where violence led to a good solution.
I think for them, the point was the only way to protect freedom is to give up certain.
Okay, you're right. So the problem is, it's not the 5 demands. It's you guys value freedom more than safety. Do we agree?
Wow.
Okay. So
does she know how?
Safety is more important than freedom. If you have a safe environment, you can communicate.
Safety is more important than freedom.
About their safety. Hold on.
No, I'm not saying. Look, your value system is different. Okay. If you're older, the old thinking, like China's thinking, is safety is more important than freedom. Do you agree? Yeah.
I don't even know what she's trying to prove.
You can pause it. I don't understand. So she's supposedly a journalist, right?
I don't know. I don't know who she is or what she is.
She was a journalist.
She's standing there with people with press hats on who are dialoguing with her.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she's a journalist. She's wearing a photography vest.
So what is
she?
No,
she's not.
What is she trying to prove?
I think she's telling them they're stupid. I mean,
I'm getting mixed. I'm getting mixed emotions.
She seems to be. So if she's a journalist, she seems to be berating them for the tactics they're taking in the street. Like, she's basically saying they should sit down and dialogue with the Chinese instead of protesting in the street and getting stuff thrown at them or shot at them. And what she ends up doing is she ends up basically arguing from authority, where she says that you need to embrace the ancient Chinese ways of embracing security, or embracing security over liberty, because that's the most Chinese thing to do, even though she's not Chinese, she's American, and she obviously believes the same thing based on the way she says it. It's wild. I've never seen anything like this in the wild.
Well, see, I guess that's my question is, when she makes the comment that that's what China believes, is that safety is more important than freedom, it makes me wonder if
I think she's obfuscating her personal opinion, because she's berating them. Like, she's not just saying, she's not having a dialogue or a debate with them. She's like trying to browbeat them. Like, she's like almost angry at them for doing it the way they're doing it.
Right. It's feel
crazy.
This way.
I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, it's almost as if she's offended because they're not like of the same mindset as she is, which is a lot of, I think, complete Americanization of today, and how that it's like, well, this is how I feel about my position, and if you don't feel that way, you're wrong.
Yeah.
So
she was pretty mad at them. Definitely not.
Right. Right.
If she's a journalist, she's doing a terrible
Okay, so
job.
She's a Facebook
double-checking
warrior.
here.
That's what she is.
So she says, why don't the universities get involved instead of protesting? What a waste of time for everyone. You guys should be enjoying your Sunday.
Yeah, because that's what happens in the United States. In the United States, if you want to change the world, you go recruit a bunch of teachers and send them to a conference and get them to teach things a certain way.
So this is what I find hilarious about this woman. Like, so she was probably all for, what was that, the day with no
Oh man.
No, the climate change students protest thing
strike,
or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. That just happened. Where all of these students just decided that they were going to get together and be like, oh, we're not going to go to school this day. Am I missing something as far as like that there's a complete non-correlation between those two? Because there seems to be, one is doing the exact same thing as the other. It's just, obviously nobody's going to go out and start trying to, hurt students, but they're protesting. The Chinese or the people in Hong Kong are protesting. So why is it okay for one and not okay for the other?
Okay, so just to be clear, she is wearing a pro-China T-shirt.
Is it red with a star?
So maybe she's an operative of some kind.
She is definitely pro-China here.
So she's not a journalist.
Not a journalist. She is wearing a pro-China
All right,
T-shirt.
let's go. We're clear on that.
She is tearing down signs that they have put up.
That's so strange. Why would an American be out there doing that?
Okay. So she is wearing a T-shirt worn by the woman was the same I Love Hong Kong shirt worn by pro-China, pro-police thugs seen assaulting pedestrians in Hong Kong's Fortress Hill on September 14th. So this is the shirt she's wearing is basically their.
I wonder if she's like a.
Can I call it a dog whistle?
I bet she works for the State Department.
American or Chinese?
American.
Oh, it's getting deep.
Yeah, the State Department's full of communists and Chinese sympathizers.
So that's Tombstone at thefrontporchshow.com.
Yeah.
Joe McCarthy did nothing wrong.
Oh no.
Are we really going to go there?
Where are we going now?
Oh, we can definitely litigate the McCarthy years.
All right, what's our next story?
Why do you think everything is so jacked up in American foreign policy? It's not because it's conservative, it's because it's progressive.
Triggered.
No, I agree. I agree with you.
I've been triggered for decades.
I agree with you, Tombstone. You're not wrong.
Anyways, on that happy note, what's next?
So
are you going to make me watch this Gary Vaynerchuk video? Because I cannot stand his butt.
What? Who's
that?
The Educate, Inspire, Change. The school system is outdated.
That dude's
hold on.
He's interesting.
Hold on.
I don't like him. I do not like him.
He triggered me. That's why I put it on there.
Okay, it's not. My dislike is not entirely rational. So if I can have more reasons to dislike him, that'd be awesome.
So we weren't going there next, but we'll go there the next segment.
We can soon.
We'll go there the next segment. No, Beto, our very own Beto.
Oh no,
Beto.
The
Irishest Hispanic that ever walked the earth.
Oh, Francis. Oh, Francis.
Oh no.
Francis takes to Kent State. He goes to Kent State University in Ohio, where he argues that only the government can be trusted with guns.
Oh,
now,
man.
1970, United States. What happened in Kent State? Modern generations probably don't know this. Do you guys know this?
No, I'm completely lost at this point.
Kent State,
I'm waiting with bated breath.
I'm waiting on Ben to catch up.
The Ohio National Guard opened fire on Vietnam War protesters.
Oh.
4 students left dead, 9 injured. Ohio National Guard opens fire on students.
Definitely trust the government.
And Beto stands up and says that nobody should own an AK-47 or an AR-15.
Right.
Because feelings.
Does anybody ever use Google, like, at all? Does anybody?
Ben, it doesn't matter.
It's just it's completely insane. we have, the amount of resources that we have, and you still cannot have people that can speak competently about a subject.
This is one of those the medium is the message things.
Yeah, I think you're right on that. It comes back down to the loudest voice.
Right.
You know, squeaky wheel gets the grease. No one remembers Kent State. Therefore, you can stand up at Kent State, argue for the government, despite the murders that took place there. And yes, I'm calling them murders. Despite that happening there, it doesn't matter because he's the one talking and he's the one with the microphone.
Yep.
And, you know.
So long ago, and our government has changed so much.
Go home, Francis. Go home.
Francis.
Oh,
Francis. We need this Southern woman be like, oh, Francis.
Oh, Francis. We'll see what you can do for next week.
Unemployment is low because everyone has 2 jobs.
She got them realtor eyes.
We're going to flip this seat red in November.
I can always tell by realtor eyes. She got them.
I think she's living in banana land.
I am not the expert on geopolitics.
I think that there's a lot of people more concerned about being precisely, factually, and semantically correct than about being morally right.
How are you the boss for coming up with a plan that doesn't work?
Is it okay to still have children?
I personally believe some people out there in our nation don't have that, and I believe that our education, such as in South Africa and the Iraq, everywhere such as, and
I'd like to thank Miss South Carolina and Andrea Ocasio-Cortez for that.
Everywhere as such as.
Such as. Yeah.
It's painful. It's painful.
Slightly painful, but incredibly humorous.
It's the whole I think the motto of the United States politics should be better to keep your mouth shut and appear the fool than to open it and remove all doubt.
Wow, that's deep. That's deep. It's true. That's good. I'm gonna write. We're speechless here.
All right. Anyway, let's talk about some edumacation.
So you shared an article this week.
Oh, this guy is he's killing me. I don't even know how to say this guy's name.
How do you say the name, Tombstone?
I have no idea how to say his last name. Sure, Vanderchuck. All right. Gary,
this guy, I see this when I log into LinkedIn, which I hate because LinkedIn is the devil. This guy is everywhere. Literally everywhere, because he's kind of like a motivational speaker. He's like a multi-zillionaire entrepreneur.
Right.
And he has wacky ideas about what rich people should do with their time and money, but it's packaged as, I'm making a very broad generalization here. It's packaged as motivational advice for everybody, but it's actually targeted at the Brooklyn set. Which I don't like. It's duplicitous. Anyways, roll the tape.
All right. We have a video here from Vanderchuck
on why
I don't think he's
it is
extremely popular. He just doesn't seem that smart to me, I guess.
Why the school system is outdated.
Oh man.
I mean, I don't disagree on that headline.
Well, let's see what he has to say.
All right.
Bueller.
Turns out you have to turn up the volume.
It helps.
I'm not sure about America, but it's outdated.
It's outdated globally.
It's outdated globally.
The internet made it outdated because information is a commodity, and the school system was built on memorization of information. Why do I have to do any math? I have a calculator on my iPhone that can give you any math. Yeah. I don't need to know anything. I can ask Siri and Alexa in 2 seconds to give me the answer.
That gave me Forrest Whitaker eye.
Who cares about the periodic table when I can tell you what? It's so uncomfortably outdated globally because it's predicated on memorization of information in a world where we have information at our fingertip.
I don't totally disagree with that. To an extent.
The whole thing's dead.
How do we fix it?
It's parents' responsibility.
Okay, good. I agree with that.
It's the parents' responsibility to not buy into the self-esteem wrapped up in your child going to a top university. We don't need to boil the ocean. Parents need to make sure their kids are happy. If we all collectively actually gave a crap about the happiness of our children, it would fix itself.
A lot of kids are miserable.
Unfortunately, we care more about the judgment of our contemporaries about what our children are accomplishing more than caring about our children. This is an issue of modern-day parenting and insecurity and keeping up with the Joneses, not a school system problem.
Caring what other people think.
It is the devastation of our society.
Yeah, because so many people watching this will be like, no, you need a university degree. You need that to fall back on.
Fall back on what?
Yeah.
Every company's not requiring a degree to get hired anyway.
No, that's not true.
That's not true.
The greatest companies in the world, Amazon, Google, are no longer requiring a degree anyway.
Well, we can't all work for Google.
So what are you falling back on? Now, that's like saying you need to keep a horse on hand in case the car doesn't work.
Which is not a bad idea. Just saying.
It is ludicrous. And it's completely predicated on the framework that the parent grew up with, and more importantly, the judgment that their parents are putting on them, or how they want to keep up with everybody else. Because the people that they eat dinner with at the country club on Sunday night, their daughter's going to the big university, and it's just ludicrous. It is sad. I'm a byproduct of parents.
See, again, he's not actually talking to us. He's talking to the Brooklyn set.
Which is why I'm happy. And I would like to use the gift my parents gave to me as something that I communicate to the world, hopefully inspiring one parent to give that gift to their child.
Yeah, what do you say to that entrepreneur, that young entrepreneur at school, hating school, wanting to leave school, but has to stay at school? What do you say to them?
Enjoy the vacation, because you're going to work the rest of your life. 2, don't be a hypocrite. If you're such a tough guy or gal, stop taking mommy and daddy's money. If you're such an entrepreneur, go buy your own iPhone. Start practicing now.
Man.
Again, not talking to people like us.
No, right.
The more likely they will be happy in life.
Well, at least he knows his
Interesting.
Okay. So I actually agree with almost all of that except the math part and the memorizing facts. You have to have memorization. Not that memorization is a substitute for logical thinking, because of course it's not.
Right.
But I get what he's getting at, and I get even allowing that he's talking to the 150, 250K a year set. I think that's actually useful information to get away. He's basically saying you need to break out of a status-based education system and go about something more practical, even if you're going to operate at a very high level, like if your kids are smart enough and or connected enough to go work at Google or whatever, then don't break the mind and spirit of your kid as you funnel them, push them through this funnel to get where they need to go.
Do you know what I didn't have when I went to community college?
What?
I took 2 semesters at community college. I did not end up with student loans after I went to community college.
Mm.
And I think the education was almost as good, if not more rounding, than an education that I had at university.
Right.
Now I got a lot out of university. My wife, for instance. But as far as student loans and everything, I didn't get them when I came out, when I took classes at community college. It's just much more beneficial from that standpoint. But anyways, continue, Tombstone.
That's about all I have. I read an article. There's an article that came out in the Atlantic last week, and I cannot remember who wrote it, but it's a guy who lived in New York, and he basically is talking about the struggles of raising a kid and basically trying to keep them upper middle class. And like, as a very lower middle class person, I didn't really sympathize a ton. I read one of my favorite authors on Twitter was talking about it, and he said basically, even though some of this person's problems are self-created by trying to live in a city like New York and trying to live in an expensive area, there's still a lot of stress across the board that people are undergoing to try and keep their kids at an equivalent or better standard of living than they had. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right.
So it's no longer a natural ascension, which is, we've talked about this on the show before, and Elizabeth Warren talks about this as well. We talked about it with the 2-income trap. So I think what Gary, to go back to what Gary Vaynerchuk is talking about here, like he's saying part of the pressure you're putting on yourself is to try and shove your kid through that funnel to the elite education system via a certain path. And I think there is a tendency, I see it even in my income bracket that your children are your status symbol, right?
Right.
And you've got to break out of that and think about what's better for the kids.
Got to get your kids to every soccer game, every taekwondo, and every.
It's also recital. It's not even that, but even as they get into high school, or it can be beyond that, depending on where you're at and what your philosophy is. Like getting your kid into pre-K, the most exclusive,
you want to get
best pre-K,
the best of the best of the best school.
And then, like Elizabeth Warren talks about, getting into the right neighborhoods, you can get into the best public school if you're going to do public school. And then getting them into the right extracurriculars and getting the right grades in high school. High school is really where the pressure starts.
A lot of communities now, the pressure's on getting your kid into the magnet school.
Yes, exactly.
That's a big thing in cities around our country.
So the funny thing is, right now the pipeline still works. So if you put enough pressure on yourself and put enough pressure on your kids, then yes, they can probably squeeze into an $80,000 or $90,000 or $100,000 job after they graduate college if they're smart enough and if they work hard enough. But you might be doing a lot of damage in the process trying to squeeze them through that funnel. And I think what Gary's driving at here is we need to be comfortable opening up alternate lanes. And what he's talking about, working, you don't have to have a college degree to work at Google or Facebook, which is, as far as I know, true. If you're going to work in tech, but if you're going to work in finance, you can't go to finance without a degree.
Right. I think that's where where I kind of disagree with him is on the education part, where he kind of refutes or maybe minimalizes having a good education for certain items. Like if you're going to work in a lab, if you're going to be a pharmacist, if you're going to be work in research and development, you know what I mean? Like, these are the things where it's like you need to know the memorization. You need to know the traditional things of schooling. You need to have that education because it is a higher form of education that's required for not a higher form of job, but a more involved specific job. That isn't a commonality between, you don't need to know how to pick up a box and put it from here to here, or, it's not something that can be taught on a job training. It needs to be something that you come into it, which would be like doctors, nurses.
Right.
There's a select people that you have to have some form of higher education in order to meet a job requirement, in order to serve the people that you're trying to help.
Let me go back to something Andrew Yang said in his book. I since I don't actually have a copy of the book, this is the problem with buying things on Audible instead of Kindle. The Andrew Yang said there's 4 professions in like 7 cities. And if you're a middle class person, your surest least risky path to success is through one of those paths. So it's like finance, medicine, technology. There was one other one and I cannot remember what it was. And then you go to those, you get a degree from a certain set of schools, and you go live in Chicago, Boston, DC, San Francisco, Los Angeles. There may be one other one. Like those, that's your path. So until that starts breaking down, the system will probably perpetuate.
Right.
This is something a little outside of my experience, but it seems to be holding true based on what I've read and looking at how the world kind of shakes out. So.
And I think there needs to be a much greater emphasis, not on just higher education, but on different forms of education, different forms of job. You have the welders, you have all
trade
of
schools
these,
are amazing.
Right. Yeah. Trade schools that are
here's
great.
So here's the thing. For my kids, right? And for Aaron's kids, I don't know about your kids, Ben, but there's awesome. Actually, if they don't want to go to that path,
right?
Which they probably could. Like, I have no doubt that my daughter is smart enough. My daughter's smarter than I am.
Right.
It's terrifying. But the opportunity cost for them to do something different is much lower, right? So if they want to do something different, something more entrepreneurial or work for themselves or whatever, they can do that. They don't have to go down that same path because they don't have connections to waste in that path. Does that make sense? So, I don't know. It just depends.
I agree. What do you guys think about the whole comment that he made that with the internet, information is commoditized?
He's right. He's absolutely right.
Yeah, I have to agree and disagree.
That's kind of a tautology, though.
I mean, now that we all know where the Tiger truck stop is and where Franz Joseph Island is, it's fascinating because common knowledge now is much bigger because of the interwebs.
Correct.
We have so much knowledge at our fingertips, and if you know how to use your Google Foo,
right,
you are going to be the master of your domain.
It is possible to become an expert on anything with a little bit of cash and a lot of time. It's true.
Yeah, right.
And there are people doing it. I bump into those people quite frequently.
So where does agree with Gary, disagree with him? I mean,
mostly agree, despite my bad things I've said.
I don't know.
I don't like his delivery. I'll be honest with you. I don't like his delivery.
No, and I think I need to know a little bit more about the audience that he's talking to, because in a lot of ways it's if he's talking about being college age and higher education students that this is happening to, or older students that it's happening to after high school, then I can see it making sense somewhat. But still, I think that he's still kind of sweeping everything under, or just a broad sweep of, what, you don't need an education. You literally all you need is you have everything at your fingertips, which I agree that you do have everything at your fingertips, but you have to know you have to know what to do with that. You have to know how to learn. You have to know how to have discipline in order to learn all of those things, which I think come from education. So I think he's kind of stabbing himself in the back while saying this, because I just don't see that it's completely a clean sweep as he makes it out to be.
It's almost like we're pushing for intellectual superiority in the world as a country over being an amazing citizen of our country, or as a I shouldn't say that. I should edit that to say to be a solid contributor to our country, I guess. And so parents are pushing their kids to higher education. They're pushing them to intellectual superiority, which is a great thing to do. No, there's nothing wrong with that. The problem is that our culture needs everyone.
Right.
You need people on all levels. And if we just have the intellectuals and we don't have anything else.
And I honestly think it will start to correct itself. I think it already has started correcting itself. I'm starting to see, and Mike Rowe was definitely the pioneer for this, like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, props to Mike Rowe.
I'm definitely starting to see more commonly trades and lower non-desk jobs.
Right, but you need everyone in society, from all the way from the lowest quote unquote, from the trash guy all the way up to the CEO.
Yeah,
you need every single person in that, and that doesn't mean that one job is more honorable. Than the next job.
I hate to drag my favorite political football into this conversation, but if the less immigration we have, the healthier the low level job market will be for American kids. So we've got to put the kids to work. We need to put them to work when they're 15, 16, 17, not when they're 22, 23 trying to work for $7.50 or $9.50 an hour. So
I started working when I was 13. Best experience of my life. By the time I hit 14, I guess I started working when I was 12. When I was 14, I started working on a farm. Second best experience, or one of my best working experiences, I'd say. Second best, first being the show, of course.
Aww.
Because, I love hanging out with you guys. But yeah, I mean, the experience of a kid working is just, it'll return dividends in the future. I love my experiences looking back on my youth working.
Yep.
Kids don't get that nowadays because they're too busy with everything else.
Them dang children. Dag nabbit.
Smoking hot wife tonight, Lisa.
That was a non-gendered person, Ken, and you just gave it a gender.
I tried this one chili and it set my mouth on fire, and I had to drink a 2 liter of Mountain Dew.
All right, leave this guy alone with his poor, constipated poops. We're going to come back, talk about politics. That's what really matters here. That is what really matters.
Tombstone, how are you doing on your triathlon goals?
I'm going to have to wait till next spring.
Really? Taking 6 months off, eh?
I don't know when the first one is. I should probably look.
That's probably a good idea.
You should come up here. You can jump off a ferry.
Into
That's
freezing ocean water. Oh,
yep. Thank you.
Oh, it's
there is
cold.
like a polar bear swim in Myrtle Beach in January, which I am actually thinking about doing.
Nope.
I want video.
It's a really short one.
We need video for the show.
Dude, we're never going to be able to see the video because it's going to be all bleached out.
Guys, I have decided
from the shine of the sun on my belly, reflected back into the camera like Archimedes' mirror.
My eyes.
I have decided
to need some Fanta Black for that.
Yes.
Oh gosh.
Now, never mind. I'm not going to go there.
The 2020 schedule has not been published yet, so.
Oh, well, that's a shame. Well, guys, I'm going to run a 0.5K.
I approve of this plan.
A 0.5K in Texas.
That's like, what, a quarter mile?
I think it's 500 yards. So it's like a third of a mile. A little bit further than a quarter mile.
Right.
Before the run, this is out of Bourne, Texas, near San Antonio. 546 yard route over a creek. It's an event billed for unachievers. Unachievers. Before the event, each runner receives a free pint of beer to prepare them for their journey.
You're fortified. Very good.
Yes, and make sure there are even plans to make sure participants have fuel on the way to the finish. A coffee and donut station at the halfway point for carb loading and energy. This will also be where the designated smoking area is.
Designated smoking area.
That way you can get your oxygen.
The race features a Euro oval sticker reading 0.5K. You can stick on your car to lord superiority over others. Participation medals for everyone.
Oh, God.
Live music at 2 brew pubs along the route. A bagpipe player giving a wheezing rendition of Amazing Grace.
What?
A VIP pass, which gives participants the chance to not run at all, instead riding the route in a 1963 VW bus, and a medical tent, because why not?
You gotta have a medical tent. That's the rules.
My hat is off to these guys. That is incredible.
I love it. Is this actually a credible thing that they're actually doing?
The race is the race is
brilliant.
This is they're raising money for blessings in a backpack.
Oh man.
Yeah,
I love it. I think it's ingenious. We should definitely do one in South Carolina.
I know. I think we should.
Aaron, we could have a national.
It's brilliant.
0.5K series. We could do one in Nebraska and one in New Jersey and one in South Carolina.
Oh man!
We could do like a tour,
and then you could do one on an airplane.
You could call it the Tour de Front Porch. Tour de Front Porch.
Probably better than what I would have come up with on short notice. I like it, guys. I would have called it a Tour de Farce.
Now, see, this seems like something that, you know what we could do instead of doing it in all those states? We could do this on a cruise.
Oh, hello.
There could be a buffet at the end. Oh, yeah. See?
No.
It could include like a water slide.
Oh, yeah.
It could include you have to swim like across the width of the pool instead of the length of the pool, you know?
No, swimming is too hard. Swimming is too hard.
All you got to do is float. It could include inner tubes. Oh, no. All right. It includes a lazy river.
Oh.
You can make this a lazy river run.
I'm a sucker.
I'm down.
I'm a sucker for a lazy river.
Lazy river float. It could be like the lazy river 0.5K. All you have to do is get in the water
and
float and get out. And then there's the buffet at the end.
I like it.
Medal as you get out of the water.
I like it.
Let's do it.
Genius.
I love it.
Guys, we're will work on this. We're going to work on this for next spring. This
is going to move us into the next tax bracket right there.
The Front Porch Show 0.5K.
Oh,
Tour de Front Porch. Guys, speaking of chasing people.
I love it.
Speaking of running. Did you guys hear about the race in Fremont, California?
Oh my gosh, no.
The pursuit, I should say.
The race?
I mean,
the race. It was a race.
In the sense that Hot Pursuit 2 was a racing game on the PC.
I mean,
yes.
it was
yes.
a race, and the police did not win.
Oh my!
No, and that's because the officer was driving a Tesla.
I mean, he ran out of battery. I take it.
He did. He ran completely out of battery.
Guys, there is no replacement or displacement.
It's so hilarious.
If you don't have the cubic inches, it's not going to happen.
So the Fremont police state
this is great.
The Tesla wasn't fully charged at the beginning of the shift. This is unfortunately happens from time to time, often on vehicles that run on gas if they aren't refueled at the end of the shift. Just plug the dang thing in, guys. It's not rocket science. My 5-year-old can plug in.
This is hard.
Can plug it in.
Adulting is hard. It's hard holding a job down.
You're a police officer, man. Plug in your car.
So if you have the lights on this thing, does that mean it drains the batteries faster?
Well, yeah. It does. Like everything in there, like AC drains the battery faster.
Oh my goodness, this is so.
In fact, AC
this is so funny.
And heat probably drain the battery faster than anything.
Someday in our post-apocalyptic world, there's going to be all the cops are going to have Teslas, and everybody else is going to have, Mad Max cars, and they're never going to be caught.
Nearly as exciting.
Yeah, they're never going to be caught.
I mean, let this be known. Let this be known that electric vehicles do not make good bug out vehicles.
No.
You think?
Ah, man.
You can have my petrol engine when you pry it from my cold dead hands.
So did the guy get away, or did they have
the guy ran
car with his Hemi come up and
they called in backup, but the guy was going too fast, and because in California,
Well, I know in certain states they will not chase you depending on how fast you go. I believe Georgia is one of those states. Where it's if you're exceeding a certain miles per hour, they will not pursue you because it's more dangerous.
I
everybody.
honestly have no experience in this scenario.
It is actually quite dangerous over. I don't know if Greenville County will even chase you if it's not a felony stop. So,
right,
if they get your plate and you don't come back with a warrant, they won't chase you because they don't want to be responsible for basically teenage joyriders getting killed on the
That's true.
themselves around a telephone pole.
Oh my goodness, this is great. This is great.
Guys,
another win for electronic cars.
That's right. Guys, we take a trip to England.
Okay.
We take a trip to England. Birkenhead, England to be exact. Where's Birkenhead? I'd like to know where Birkenhead is, Tombstone. You're a maps expert.
Do I look like your concierge?
Somewhere on an island.
Is it BUR or BIR?
BIRKEN. Don't worry, I already brought it up in Google Maps. It's right across from Liverpool.
It's on the West Coast, yes.
In fact, I see it right here in the dry dock. Gentlemen, I am looking at the ship that has been christened Sir David Attenborough, otherwise known as Boaty McBoatface.
Hasn't they been building it for the last 5 years?
They have. Remember, Boaty McBoatface won out the survey,
right,
for the name, and then the government was like, "We can't do that; it'd be too funny."
What is wrong with people?
We'll name an unsubmersible vehicle Boaty McBoatface instead. It's like
so sad,
guys.
It's so sad. England's so depressing.
It's like, come on, have a sense of humor. The people voted.
They don't know how to have fun over there anymore.
Boaty McBoatface, guys. So we have a video here of hello. Are
they planning on launching it soon?
Duchess of something. What is her name? What is she?
Yeah. I got nothing.
Yeah, I got nothing. The Duchess is
I got nothing on royalty.
What are we talking about?
The Duchess is christening the boat. William, what's his face? Kate. Her name's Kate. Prince Willie is doing this big professional speech here.
Okay.
And he's christening the boat, and she is about to drop the cork on it. Literally dropped the cork on it, and she's giving a speech.
Riveting commentary.
I know. I know. She's about to hit the button. She's about to hit the button to release the champagne onto the side of the boat to christen it forever.
Actually,
they don't actually show it. Why didn't they actually show it?
They probably didn't break, and then it's going to turn into the next K-19.
Well, that's because they didn't call it Boaty McBoatface. They have a bunch of little kids running around dressed up as penguins because it's a research vessel.
That's awesome.
Oh, come on. Really? This is so weird. That's
all right.
Such
This turned into a very depressing story. Let's go.
So, Boaty McBoatface.
The Brits are a little too serious.
The Brits are too serious. You can't have any fun.
Nope. No fun since Freezing Day.
No fence since World War II.
Poor Boaty McBoatface.
Guys, in the news from here on out, it will always say the Sir David Attenborough, otherwise known as Boaty McBoatface, forever. They cannot escape this.
Greta, your first climate strike was a lonely event a little over a year ago, and in the intervening time, you have sparked the interest of millions, literally, of children around the globe, demanding action for climate change. What's your message to world leaders today?
And remember, this girl is at the UN.
My message is that we'll be watching you.
She's super nervous. 16 years old, addressing the UN.
This is all wrong. I shouldn't be up here. I should be back in school on the other side of the ocean.
But instead, you decided to take 4 weeks and sail across the ocean in a sailboat.
Let her talk.
Okay, sorry.
How dare you? You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words. And yet, I'm one of the lucky ones. People are suffering. People are dying. Entire ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. How dare you?
She wrote that herself, guys.
For more than 30 years, the science has been crystal clear.
No, it hasn't.
How dare you continue to look away?
Sorry, Tombstone.
And come here saying that you're doing enough when the politics and solutions needed are still nowhere in sight. You say you hear us and that you understand the urgency. But no matter how sad and angry I am, I do not want to believe that. Because if you really understood the situation and still kept on failing to act, then you would be evil, and that I refuse to believe. The popular idea of cutting our emissions in half in 10 years only gives us a 50% chance of staying below 1.5 degrees and the risk of setting off irreversible chain reactions beyond human control. 50% may be acceptable to you, but those numbers do not include tipping points.
I can't do it, guys. I'm done.
Okay, that's good.
I'm done.
Okay, I got to point something out here. This is an excellent speech, and it did exactly what it was supposed to do.
It sure did.
It was supposed to do two things. It was supposed to.
Strings.
It was very emotional, of course. It's supposed to coalesce the left and pull them all together in a nice big unified bunch, and it's supposed to piss people like us off, which it doesn't actually piss me off. But am I allowed to say the P word? Sorry.
Technically you can.
And it's designed to make people like us mad because we know that it's attempted emotional manipulation, right? But the left views the medium is the message.
Right.
It has not nearly as much to do with what she's saying as the fact that she is there saying it. So, of course, as I've said, everything is an op, right? That's going to be my new catchphrase. Okay. I haven't yet dug in to figure out exactly where this girl came from, but she has been groomed for this probably for years.
Well, she has. Did you know she's
definitely
got an IMDb page?
So she's really good. She's really good. She's a very effective weapon. And I don't blame her a bit. She doesn't know. She doesn't know what's going on.
I mean, she's an actress.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I don't know. It's hard for me to be mad about it because I guess game respects game. You know? You know what I'm saying, though? As I was listening to it, I let it take me where it wanted to go. And it was very good. It's very good.
It is good. It is good. It just frustrates the fire out of me.
I know. I'm not sure what to say about it besides that, other than the fact that, you know, there's a lot of evidence that the climate numbers have been grossly manipulated.
Like politics, like I can listen to just about any politics speech and just be like, whatever. But this really disturbs me because it is so manipulative.
Oh,
and
yes,
I can't stand the manipulation.
Yeah.
It's like, it's perfect because they pick a child who sails across the ocean on a several $1 million sailboat.
I'm going to send you a thing, and it's not a rehash of the whole speech. It's a comparison of a speech an American girl gave to the UN in 1991 or 1992.
Okay,
let me pull it up. Greta's speech was much more Hitlerian.
Wait.
It was way more emotional.
In 92, you mean the one saying that the world's going to end in 2000?
Yes. I don't know if that was actually in it.
Because it's funny because Greta was born after the time when the world was supposed to end the first time.
Yeah, I know. That fact has not escaped me.
I'm just pointing that out just to be factually, you know, it may be factually correct, but it's not morally correct.
I can't find it.
Wait, what? Using that AOC line there. You got what you're looking for, Tombstone?
No.
Something we should listen to next week?
Oh,
yeah.
man.
All right.
Yeah.
Put that in the notes for next week. We will get to that.
I'll dig it up.
Just to be clear, there are scientists all across the country, across the world, who have stated that climate change as affected by humans is not happening. Okay? This is not a settled science. We see from past history, ice core samples, we see from everything else that the climate has been changing for years and years and years. Doesn't matter whether you are doesn't matter how old you think the earth is. It has been changing for years and years.
Right.
It has. And that's okay.
And again, it also goes back to the whole thing of you're looking at such a small amount of time that we've been paying attention to this and documenting it. You know,
really,
even if you're go ahead.
Yeah. Really the biggest problem based on my research is that the thermometers that are being used to monitor temperature change are heavily affected and not being corrected for in urban areas. So
because urban areas tend to be warmer on the normal
and the thermometers, like I know personally at least a handful where the thermometers are sitting out on concrete pads in the sun all day long. You know?
That ain't right.
No, well, I mean, it's fine if you want to get a good guess, but it's not fine if you want to
take accurate,
collapse.
Especially when you're talking about 1.5 degrees killing us.
Right. If you want to talk about whether it's going to be 50 degrees or 52 degrees, it's not that big of a deal.
So I also want to point out that we are naive to think that humans can't affect our world. We do it every day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The question ultimately is, can we destroy our world? As guys sitting here with a biblical worldview, I would say that's impossible.
No, I don't think it's impossible.
I don't think we can destroy our world. I don't think we have been. I heard an interesting thing.
I think that's a metaphysical position, not a scientific.
It may very well be. Do we have the capacity to destroy ourselves? Yes, we do. I don't. I heard someone make a comment this week, and I don't know if I agree with them or not on this, but it was very fascinating. He made the comment that we don't have the authority. We have not been given the authority to destroy our world. Because
yeah,
in according to biblical end times, depending on how you interpret it,
I get what you're saying at, but that is not a convincing weapon to bring to a policy fight.
Oh no, it's not. It's not. I'm mainly appealing to the religious Christian listeners that we have out there.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting thought.
There's a lot of other religious Christian listeners, or well, maybe not their listeners, but they believe that we are capable, and yet we do have stewardship. So to them, it's a bigger sin to just sit back and see what happens than it is to work as hard as humanly possible.
I guess my point is that I don't necessarily think that we have the. I don't necessarily think we will end up destroying the world, but are we responsible to do what is needed to help to mitigate our effect on the beautiful creation that we've been given? Absolutely, without a doubt. I'm a conservationist. I'm, dare say, some could call me a bit of an environmentalist. I don't typically, except for the head gasket, the issues on the truck, I don't typically allow oil to pour all over my driveway. It doesn't happen. I don't do that. I'm very conscious about what we've been given. And I think everyone should be responsible and should be a conservationist. But at the same time, there's a major line between appreciating and respecting what we've been given and being a fanatic.
Yep.
And we gotta definitely be careful of that. We'll be right back.
To me, it look like a leprechaun to me. All I gotta do is look up in the tree. Who else seen the leprechaun say yeah?
My theory is it's casting a shadow from the other limb.
Could be a crackhead that got hold to the wrong stuff. And it told him to get up in a tree and play a leprechaun.
This waters off smells right here. This is a special leprechaun flute, which has been passed down from thousands of years ago from my great-great-grandfather who was Irish. I just came to help out.
I'm gonna run a backhoe and uproot that tree. I wanna know where to go. I want to go. Give me the go. I want to go.
So Ozzy,
I want the gold too.
You are an Eagles fan?
Yeah, haphazardly, yes.
I'm sorry.
Just because I'm around this area, so been here for 7 years. So yes, more or less.
So who is Agholor?
So Agholor is one of the Eagles receivers. And the other night, not last night, but last night, a couple nights ago, he could not catch a pass to save his life.
And so we have this fan literally laying down the law.
Eagles fans, anybody from Philadelphia, they are intense about sports, unlike anywhere I have ever been. So we have this fan who was interviewed by I guess it was ABC or NBC, one of them.
It's NBC Sports.
NBC Sports. So there was a burning building in Philadelphia, and this man and another man, I guess, started catching. A father started out of a 2-story, I think, something like that. They explain it. Started, chucking his kids out the window to these guys, or dropping them out the window to these guys to save them from the burning building. So
hey, whatever works.
That's where we pick up.
Whatever works. Here we go.
We was catching them. Unlike Agholor and his mishaps, I like to put that out there. Smoke man. Then I seen a guy hanging out the window, screaming that his kids was in there and things like that. So I ran to the back door, see if it was open, and it was. I ran upstairs, but then I was greeted with smoke. I ran back downstairs. By that time, the ladder truck was pulling up, and ironically, one of my old coworkers took the ladder off the truck, raised it up, and was assisting people down. My man just started throwing babies out the window. But we was catching them. Unlike Agholor and his mishaps, I like to put that out there.
Oh man! Oh man! That's awesome. That's awesome.
So anyway, so that happened. And then a few days later, Agholor put on I think it was his Twitter, that he was trying to find out who this guy was, and offered the man free tickets to the next Eagles game.
That's awesome.
That was at home. So
that's awesome.
For being heroic, I guess him and his friends. So it was really good.
That's classy. Really that's good, awesome. Good for him.
That was like my feel good story for the week, because it cracked me up so much.
That's incredible. I love it.
Yep.
Wow.
I told you, man, they are intense about their sports. It's like everything revolves around sports up here, especially Eagles.
Serious
now,
business.
Wasn't Philadelphia, didn't they have the Vince Papale? Wasn't that the guy, the walk-on QB? It was with
oh geez, maybe.
Who's the guy? The guy from the rap group. Not Backstreet Boys, the other kid. Oh, what is his name?
Yeah, Vince Papale was an Eagles guy.
It was the Vince Papale movie, though. Played by man, I'm drawing a blank here. The guy who plays on Deepwater Horizon.
Wow, that helped.
You guys need to get out more.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's Mark Wahlberg.
Oh.
Marky Mark from the Funky Bunch.
Wow, yeah, no.
Yeah. Man, guys. Like, this is terrible.
Where are we going with this?
No, I was just wondering if Philadelphia was the Vince Papale story. Because the movie was excellent. I loved that movie with
Wow.
Okay.
Have
we insulted our audience enough?
Probably. It's the movie was called Invincible, and talked about 1976. It says he was a wide receiver, not a quarterback. Well, I'm an idiot. Whatever. www.thefrontporchshow.com. You can listen to us on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, a variety of other places where you can procure your online content. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're on all those places sometimes. I don't know.
Just end the madness.
Guys, we'll catch you next week. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.